What's up?
Boone, I can't tell you. I'm usually really excited to do the show with you. I'm not excited to do this today. Um, it's the day of reckoning. Yeah, I mean that's that. I mean Charlie, I'm not sure if he's in the same boat, decided to skimp out for that reason, or he's got some work obligations. He won't be joining us today, but maybe he's making some excuses and can't say I blame the guy. But how are you doing? How are you doing before we dive into some things here?
Well, I know that everyone comes to this show to hear the news, and that's exactly what we intend to do today. Juventus came back from a crazy 2-4. They were down 2-4 in like the 85th minute and came back to tie. So I'm doing fantastic. Nothing else of note happened this week except my Colts are 2-0. And Evan's mustache ran away. Other than that, there's nothing else to note. No, but in reality, yeah, it was a tough game. We'll get into it here in a second. We can jump into it now if you want. And just kind of
I want to rip the Band-Aid off because
I
honestly had a pretty good weekend apart from about a 10-hour period of just nonsense. As everyone said, the mustache left. That made it about 30 seconds after the final whistle. I'll put it this way. The worst part about a loss like that is I can watch that game and I can tell you we're the better football team. I mean, I truly feel like we were the better football team.
I've lost you, Evan, if you're still talking. So I think Evan is frozen. So I'll fill some space until he jumps back on. His laptop completely crashed out. He said, "Give him 1 second." So, I'll go ahead and jump into some other news because I want Evan to be on here for when we dive in completely to this Gamecock stuff. So I know Evan is not the biggest soccer guy, so I'll go ahead and talk to the people a little bit about the soccer thing. Trust me, I think he wants to be in here for when we lament about the Gamecocks. We have one Clemson fan that I know that listens, so this one goes out to him. We'll eat our crow as long as you eat yours as well. A couple things in the soccer world that we can touch on. The Premier League was back this week. Obviously, that's awesome news. Evan's team, the Fulham Cottages, I believe, won. I didn't watch it because I was at the game for South Carolina. Again, we'll touch on that here in a second once Evan jumps back on. But the big news in the soccer world today is the Champions League is back. Champions League is back. The first game or first match day, if you will, of the new Champions League season. Super, super excited for that as well. I mean, it was a lot of fun. Just a quick run through the scores here. We had PSV getting their dicks kicked in by Union Saint-Gilloise, the Belgian Super Cup team. They lost 3-1. Arsenal with a massive, massive late winner or late goals to take the lead. 72nd from Gabriel Martinelli. He was only on for 36 seconds when he found the back of the net. Leandro Trossard doubled the lead in the 87th to cover my parlay. Arsenal and over 1.5. That was awesome for me. Benfica, fresh off of getting through the playoff, they went up 2-0 early on, 6th minute and 16th minute, before Carbag, FK, Carbag, Qarbag. Nobody cares about this team, but they did come back to score 3 unanswered and win. Now the late slate is what people were really watching. You had Tottenham Villarreal. Tottenham won that game 1-0. It was an own goal in the 4th minute, which was pretty exciting. Real Madrid had quite the game. Timothy Weah with an awesome goal to start off the account for Marseille in the Champions League. He just came to Marseille this past offseason from Juventus, but which I was pretty bummed because I'm a Juve fan and obviously Weah is American. But Mbappe with 2 penalties to end that game in a Danny Carvajal goal. But Real Madrid down a man actually wins 3-2. Let's make sure we touch on the one other game before hey, Evan's back.
Hey.
Have we been recording this whole time? Because I've just been riffing.
Yeah, we have.
Okay,
hey,
cool. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish up this soccer stuff before we talk in. The big game of the day was my Juventus team. I see Evan reloaded and got some ice as well. Juventus playing Dortmund at the Allianz in Turin, Italy. I watched this whole game, which is why I was just reading some scores on the other games. 0-0, or in the soccer world, we call it 0-0 in the first half. Really, really boring game from the standpoint of the first half. Juventus was dominating, and then cue the second half. Evan, in the second half of the Juventus Dortmund game, match day 1 of the Champions League, there was 8 goals. 8 goals. The scoring started in the 52nd minute. In the 74th, Dortmund takes a 3-2 lead. They get a penalty in the 86th, which was bullshit. So they're up 4-2 with 4 minutes left to play, technically 3. Juventus scores one in the 94th and the 96th to tie it at home in a massive saving of a point in the Champions League. So there's your soccer minute, your round ball roundup. Since basketball's not here, this will be our round ball roundup. And that was the only good thing that's happened. So, Evan, we can jump back into the Gamecocks, or the Game Cunts, as I've been calling them since Saturday.
Yeah. And where I left off was saying, I honestly do think we have the better football team from a talent standpoint. I want to emphasize the talent standpoint, because other than that, we got out heart, and 1,000% out coached. It's not even. I never thought I was going to be sitting here saying I might want Marcus Satterfield back as an offensive coordinator.
I'm still with you.
Yeah. So, and I definitely want Dowell Loggins back. I don't know what Mike Shula is doing. I am just frazzled. So many things did go wrong in this game. Like, listen, this was a game up until halftime. And we all know the injury happened, and then at that point the game was over. That's just how it goes. And I just wish I had some positive notes to really take away from the game. It was disgusting to watch, and it just keep getting worse throughout the game. I was watching the game with a friend who had never seen me watch a game before, and to give her diagnosis of me, she goes, "Listen, I was kind of expecting you to be crazy." She goes, "You turned into a full-blown psychopath." Like, she's like, "I was legitimately concerned about your well-being for a few minutes. Like, you talking to myself, like, it wasn't a good game to watch with someone for the first time." And my biggest takeaway is it's a classic Gamecock thing to do. Just lose this game, and I have zero faith in them. I should just be dead for them on the year. And unfortunately, I know what's going to happen next week. They're going to go out and beat Missouri, and I'm going to be like, "Oh, fuck, I'm back again." It's just how being a Gamecock fan goes. I mean, that's kind of all I really have to say. Shame on me for thinking it was going to be different this year.
Yeah. So, listen, Evan, you covered a lot. So I was at the game. I'm making a commitment to the people, at least for the rest of the time Sellers is at the University of South Carolina. I was fortunate enough to be in a box seat. Really nice box seat that I've had access to a couple of times in the last couple of years. This is the second time that I've been in this box seat where Sellers gets hurt right before the first half, and we go on to lose. I can commit to the Gamecock faithful that as long as Sellers is in a South Carolina uniform, I will not sit in that box again. Listen, let me just touch on a couple of things that I saw while I was there. The stadium was rocking. The energy was up. The team was up. This was unequivocally a mismanagement of talent by the South Carolina Gamecock coaches, specifically one Mike Shula. I was reading a stat, and again, I won't pull up the facts, and I won't do that much research. Mike Shula is averaging 14 offensive points through 4 games. 14 with a nuclear weapon behind center. That is criminal mismanagement, criminal negligence that should be firing squad offensible. There was horrible play calling throughout the game. I've never met a team or never watched a team that is so dynamic for the first scripted plays. Well, we're the Chicago Bears. That's what we are right now. We are the Chicago Bears with a better quarterback. The first drive of the game, we are the most unstoppable offense in the country. And then immediately after that, we are devoid of all creativity, concept, scheme, everything. It's my what the fuck moment of the week is this next play, so I'm going to save it. But I know Gamecock fans will know what it was. There's a lot of undue hate and anger on Gamecock Twitter coming towards one Luke Doty, which I think is unfair. Luke Doty was put in a situation that was really tough and was given – he basically had to drive uphill in an electric vehicle. It was unfair to what was being asked of him. The running game was decent until they realized that Mike Shula was shitting down his leg and couldn't call anything creative. Then you're just when you play that poorly on offense, you don't give your defense a chance to rest. You lose all the air in the building. Listen, the crowd was fine. The crowd was awesome until about halfway through the third quarter when they realized what was happening. I was super nervous about this game. I know Evan and I talked ourselves back into it on the show on Thursday. Clark Lee is a good football coach, and we've had a common theme on this podcast about streaks coming to an end. This was the longest winning streak over one opponent in the SEC that was active, 17 games. It was. Now it's not. The last Vanderbilt coach to beat South Carolina was James Franklin. That's how long this streak has been going. All that said, and as bad as we look, I do think that Missouri is gettable at home. I do think that they're more gettable now than they were had we scraped out a Missouri or a Vanderbilt win. All you can do now is go into the LSU game 4-1. That's really it. We can't bellyache. As fans, we have to get back on the side of the team, and we have to show them that we're here for them. Not that it matters as long as Shula's pulling the strings, but the season is not lost, but it is severely hampered at this moment.
Yeah, Boone, I think you kind of hit everything on the head. Maybe talk a little bit less emotion than myself here. Like I said, I think we have a really, really good football team. I don't think that's the issue. The fans were fantastic from everything I could tell, watching it away. And listen, football, say everything you will about it, and everyone knows this. It's a game of momentum, and when you have just nothing going right like that, the defense, like you said, defense was out there too much. Vanderbilt was flying around. They came out ready to play. What a dominant first drive they had, and what an answer by us as well. I mean, listen, that was an incredible way to start the game. The interception by Sellers, that was killer.
That killed. That really killed everything because Nick Harbor was wide open.
Yeah, and the roof's off that place. If that happens, it's like, listen, yeah. I'm sure the stadium was loud. You take that lead, the roof's gone. The roof's non-existent. Whatever you want to say. Saying's what it is. But back to Mike Shula thing. Listen, and I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat anything. I'm sick of this happening. We're not I don't care how good we've been in the last 4 or 5 years, whatever. Having 3 straight offensive coordinators where I'm consistently on a regular basis at the beginning of the year not happy with them. Listen, I'm going to give Dow Loggins all the credit. As the year went on, he got much better. Same with Marcus Satterfield. But I'm sick of having these play callers that seem to call plays that just have no rhyme or reason, no creativity. It's like you're calling an NFL game a lot of the time, in my opinion. It's how I view it, with all his talent establishing certain things. When you have elite athletes like you do at South Carolina and there's big mismatches in talent across the field, get creative. You don't have to open up the playbook, do crazy things. And we never do that until later in the year. And I just don't understand it. Look at all the other elite teams across the country. They're doing it by week 3. Look at the plays Alabama was running. this week. They looked good. You don't need to do it, but you should. And it's just, I'm sick of the no creativity. The creativity gets college players fired up. They're still young guys. And it just doesn't make sense to me that it happens. And to your point on the Missouri thing, I'm going to be ready to go this weekend because I'm going to have to be. I really need Sellers back. I hope he is. But is Beamer going to have to step in again? Because usually it takes like one of these losses for, I'm not sure if it's Beamer or to them to have, because they seem to do it every year. They have some type of meeting behind closed doors and the playbook completely changes and it's a whole new team on offense. Is that what happens? I hope so, but that's what needs to happen.
See, that's where I'm worried. If there's one thing I can really say about Beamer, in his tenure, it is that he is inept at hiring offensive coordinators. Satterfield never got better, ever. Not ever. Satterfield was absolute dog shit. Dow Loggins did get better. And you know who's not having a good start to their season is App State. So what if we just did a little swapsy? The issue here is last year, yes, there was that closed door meeting, but then we went into, who was it? Wofford maybe, and then a bye week before we had. So Sellers had 2 weeks to get back. This is straight into Missouri, who is what do they rank? 20 something, like 25?
23, I think.
23. Vanderbilt. Listen, Vanderbilt's a good team. Let's
Oh,
also,
absolutely.
To any Vanderbilt Commodore fans, let's just go ahead and say South Carolina is probably a more talented team. Y'all won that game. We didn't lose that game. Y'all won that game. There was a lot of unbelievable play calling. Diego Pavia's nuts were hanging down to his kneecaps. Commodores, y'all won that game. Let me not make any bones about it. Y'all are a good football team. We said that on Thursday, that y'all are a good football team. Clark Lee's a good football coach. We all said that. So I don't want this to make it sound like we completely blew the game. There was elements of us blowing the game, but Vanderbilt this is not your grandfather's Vanderbilt, to use a shitty cliche. But now we're going into Como, which is the stupidest fucking name of all time. But we're going into Columbia, Missouri, a place that we have not played well at. And they're 23. They're licking their chops at a wounded animal coming in. Again, I think Doty played fine, but this has got to be a Cutter Woods or Aaron Nolan start. It has to be. You have to. Doty does too much of the same thing as Sellers without being as athletic as Sellers. You flip the script, do something. The one positive I'll take from this game is the defense. The defense did seem to quit towards the end a little bit, just because for what reason? You saw a little bit of freshman Dylan Stewart coming out where he just got frustrated and kicked out of the game.
On that note,
but Rasul Faison looked good.
On that note, let's be happy. Dylan Stewart is going to play this weekend as well.
Yeah.
So that's huge. And listen. I was pissed at Dylan a little bit at the game, as I should have been. I'm not now, dude. I get it. Yeah. I'd be frustrated too.
Yeah. And I have a couple of sources within the Gamecock building that have told me Sellers has grown frustrated with the offense, and he fucking should be. The offensive line, I mean, I don't know how you can continue to put out these kind of offensive players. And with commits that we have coming in, like the thought was always Sellers probably leaving after this year. We have Landon Duckworth with a huge commit that is coming in. You have Aaron Nolan, who was a high transfer recruit. At this point, you have to – this is different than what college football used to be. You have to be ready to nut up or shut up, or you're going to lose guys in the portal, and it's going to be bad. But listen, we'll talk a little bit more about South Carolina on the next show on the Friday morning preview. But there's got to be a lot of changes. All that we can do as fans is be ready to support our guys, show them love. I mean, it is what it is. It's a loser talk, but we were losers this week, so that's what it is. Notre Dame played for a national championship last year, and they lost to Northern Illinois. Sorry. And we'll get into Notre Dame here in a second, but yeah, it's all we can do. So in interest of time, because I know we just spent about 20 minutes on the Gamecocks, unless you have anything else to say, I thought Rasul Faison looked good, and that's my last comment. So
no, I mean, my last thing is just to echo what you said. Be a true fan. You got to ride with the boys right now. The season isn't quite over yet. we still have the ability to be a national championship team. We didn't show it this week. But listen, we were in a similar spot last year, kind of putting our backs up against the wall, and that's when they showed out the best. It's a little bit earlier this year. A little bit more of a chink in the armor right now. I think bigger issues to resolve than we did last year, but move on. And let's kind of dive into the rest of the slate.
Yeah. Do you want to walk through any of the slate, or do you want to just go straight into the categories and go from there?
Let's just jump into some of our categories. Like we mentioned last week, we're going to keep these segments the same. But I'm sure we'll dive into some more games since Charlie's in here, but I'm sure we won't get to quite as many of the games here.
Yeah, and I know Evan touched on it a little bit, tongue-in-cheek. Charlie's not avoiding talking about the Gamecocks. We all do actually have regular jobs until we have enough sponsors / viewers that we can do this full-time. That's obviously the dream. Charlie's out in Denver, and the time difference, obviously, he's still working. So he'll be back for the Thursday show, Friday morning release. But I do want to put my hand up here. I was, like I've said, I was at the game, so I was doing the whole proper tailgate everything. Let me, if I can, I guess, to touch just one more thing. You know what? I forgot how sick something was, and that's just the cost of drinks in college towns. Me and our good friend Ian Stubbe, we went down for the game. And we started by going to Salty Nut. For those of you that are Gamecock fans, y'all know Salty Nut. It's the premier college bar, in my opinion, in South Carolina. Well, it's the premier
pre-bar restaurant.
Yeah, it's the premier pregame spot. We got 2 buckets of beer and 2 mind erasers. So 10 beers, 2 mind erasers. Both of us tipped 25% on our bill. It's $40 total. You don't get those prices. But I will say, hand up, I was tailgating for a lot of the day. I watched all of the early slate. So some of my answers are going to be kind of tied to the early slate because I want to be a good steward of what I watched, not just box score watching. So some of my answers might be a little limited to those. I'll just put my hand up there. So, Evan, why don't you kick us off with biggest riser? Because I couldn't remember if this meant player or team, but I picked a team.
It's player, but hey, if you want to give team, hey, listen, we're not sticklers with the rules on this podcast by any means. And here's a guy, we touched on a little bit earlier, keeping recruits around, a guy we lost a few years ago. And he played a hell of a football game. It was really a hell of a football game in general. A lot of players played great. And it's Gunnar Stockton at the University of Georgia. Yeah. Talk about going into a hostile environment. Really his biggest test as a starting quarterback. There's a lot of doubt around him this year. There's been a lot of doubt saying, hey, he might not have it. He had his back up against the wall a lot in this game. And every time Georgia needed a play, whether it was a passing play, a running play, he stepped up and made the play. And just a really, really good performance from a previous. I'm not sure if he was a 5-star. He was definitely a 4-star guy.
5-star.
And it was hands down the most impressive performance of his college career. I was in awe watching him. It was just a really, really impressive performance. But yeah, that's my riser of the week. And yeah, so great quarterback duel all over there as well.
Yeah, this could easily, my biggest riser could easily be from that same game, Joey Aguilar. But just to touch on Gunnar Stockton, you know what kept coming to my mind watching him play that game? He's got a little bit of Baker to him. He's got a little bit of shit to him where he doesn't slide typically. He's running at people. That was an awesome game. That was the last game I truly got to watch all of before I was completely locked in. We talked about it on Thursday when the Gamecocks are on. I'm locking in. Gunnar Stockton, what a fun game. What a fun game. My biggest riser was from a game that I had to go back and watch the full game highlights because it was an instant classic. But my biggest riser is the Texas A&M Aggies. And I hate to say that because I hate the Texas A&M Aggies. It's a team that we're fortunately going to get to go up and watch real close here in November. The boys are going on the road for that game. Maybe we'll do a live show after that, after we win. That'll be fun. But this is a game that Texas A&M loses. It just is. There's a saying that goes around called battered Aggie syndrome. I think you could say that. Any fan base could say that about themselves, with the exception of like Georgia, Clemson, and Bama over the last couple of years. Maybe Ohio State, obviously, as well. But no, Texas A&M played a team in South Bend. I didn't give them a chance in that game, and they just came to play. They showed up, they showed out, and they're properly ranked because of it. Texas A&M went from a team that I was a little bit worried about to a team that I'm very worried about. They looked great. Marcel Reed had one of the most phony stat lines that I feel like you could see this weekend. 17 for 37 doesn't tell the story of what he actually did. I mean, granted, he had 360 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. They won the game, but a 4th and 1 to win the game. I mean, what else do you get up for? Texas A&M, listen, y'all know I don't like you, but what a game. Y'all deserve your flowers. Incredible performance this weekend.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. This is a game I had to come back and watch the highlights on.
Yeah.
And a game I actually want to maybe sit down and watch the full game of.
Yeah.
Like you, I had a guest in town this weekend, so I got quite a few games, and I definitely watched more than Boone, but definitely wasn't quite as locked in as I have been previously. I will say in this game, there was definitely a few questionable calls in this game from the officiating, and maybe, hey, the refs are getting kind of the rust off this year. I feel like there was quite a few questionable calls both during the NFL games and in college football this weekend, like more so than I'm used to, especially it seemed like in crunch time where it was like, man, I don't know about that call right now. Like, I mean, listen, I hate the refs to decide a football game, but there was a clear hold on one of those plays when Marcel Reed was dropping back. I thought the defensive lineman from Notre Dame kind of got tackled. At least there needs to be some type of call there, but really, really a great game. And I think to your point, I think I kind of said it best. That is a game Texas A&M normally loses, but at the same time, that's also a game Notre Dame kind of tends to lose too this time of year too.
Yeah, I agree with you in one extent, but that's not a game they lose when they're already 0-1. That's a game they lose to go 1-1 or 2-1. I mean, I'm looking now. A&M has jumped to number 10. They probably should have jumped higher. If I'm looking at the people ahead of them, I'm taking Notre Dame on a neutral site against Illinois all day, every day. I'm probably taking A&M on a neutral site against Texas right now. The way Arch has been playing. Florida State, who knows? They might be the best team in the world. Oregon, same thing. They got backdoor covered, but like A&M, I mean, again, I can't preface this enough. I don't like Notre Dame, I don't like A&M. I don't like Notre Dame either, but that's beside the point. A&M played well. They deserve their flowers. Marcel Reed has really stepped up, and Elko is a good coach. Not that was a shocker. We all knew that was going to be at least successful for the first couple years. But if he can get things rolling with their NIL fund and their booster money, that could be a real team to reckon with going forward, which I personally don't appreciate. But kudos to you, Aggies. Y'all had quite a game. So, Evan, let's move on. What was your what the fuck are you doing moment of the week? Because I have one and I can't get it out of my head.
I'm gonna beat the dead bush here, and I'm not. We've already talked about it, but I'm just gonna say it, and it's Mike Shula. That's gonna be the end of it. I'm gonna let you dive deeper into the specific on what you want to call yours. I'm sure it's from the same game. I'm pretty sure I know exactly what you're gonna say, but I'm sick of it, and it's the most concerned I've been, because it seems like at least when Marcus Satterfield was calling the bad plays, it seemed like he just didn't know what he was doing, and he was completely stupid and just didn't know how to call an offense. I feel like Mike Shula knows what he's doing and is just calling bad plays. He's like, oh, this is going to work. And he's like confident in it. I felt like Marcus Satterfield was throwing shit at a wall and hoping it was going to work. I feel like Mike Shula was like, oh, this is going to work. And I hate it. I just can't stand it.
Yeah. So, pretty early in the third quarter, I believe, because we got the ball to start, did nothing with it. Vandy, I'm almost positive scored a touchdown. There's a lot of things happening at that moment, but I'm pretty sure we're down 21-7. 4th and 2, we're making some plays, and we're right at midfield. Clear chance to go for it. I think they made the right call to go for it. You have your backup quarterback in. Who fucking cares if you put his ass under center and something happens and you're down to Cutter Woods or Arnold? That's not a big difference. And instead you hand the ball off to Faison when we haven't gotten pushed the entire game, and you hand the ball to Faison and he gets knocked like 2 yards in the backfield, you lose the ball. How do you not just, I don't care if it's a pseudo tush push, I don't care what you think you're doing, but to any time that you have 2 yards to gain and your game plan is to hand it to a guy lined up 5 yards already in the backfield, so now it's a fourth and 7 at that point. I thought that completely lost us the game because then they got the ball back, they scored, game over. It's a lack of field awareness. At very least, if you do a QB sneak, I mean, those 3 yards are important yards. I don't understand what the thought was. We talked this game into the hole. Our one Clemson subscriber is going to love this episode. Just wait, we're coming for you next. But it was the craziest call that I've seen. So yeah, that was the biggest what the fuck, bro, are you doing of the weekend for me. But just as a microcosm of the Shula experience, it's been abhorrent.
Yeah. I mean, run the ball, and that's about, like, listen, I'm okay if you do some type of misdirection and do a pitch out wide, like try to just fool them.
Anything.
Like, I can be okay with that if you lose yards on.
Yeah.
That's at least trying to do something.
At least you're creative.
Yeah. 4th and 2 is not a play where you do that. That's maybe a 4th and 1, maybe, and on a team that gets no push. But a team that gets 0 push for 2 yards, no. Like, come on, roll them out, push out, like you said, under center, make him get pushed forward. Do a rollout, do something, make some makers move.
I'm even better there with a draw play, because at least you're spreading everyone out. There was 11 guys in the fucking box. But all right, let's move on because we've talked this game into the hole. I don't think, looking at the rest of my categories, I don't think that I have anything else from this game, thank God. But there's a couple. Listen. Let's. Football for us sucked this weekend, on Saturday at least, but only at 7:45. There were some good games, Evan. So, what was your best game of the weekend?
Listen, I gave you my riser, and it's gonna be that same game. What a football game that was! And I was gonna go with that game, and I just made my move. I made my switch right at the moment because I need some happiness in my life.
Yeah.
Fuck Clemson. Listen, my day started off so goddamn good. Haynes King. Listen, my underdog of the week, Georgia Tech, came in huge and beat Clemson. Just a statement win. Listen, Clemson looks bad. Clemson looks really bad, but I'm not going to talk shit on Clemson right now. I'm not going to. Georgia,
we don't have the right. We don't have the right.
At this point, we might be playing Clemson at the end of the year for a bowl berth.
That's what I've heard. Clemson for South Carolina, the 5 and 6 bowl. I've heard that. That. And don't get me wrong. Listen, if we're going full loser talk, a Palmetto Bowl into the season game and Willie B to decide who gets to go to a bowl, at least that's drama. At least I can get behind that. But yeah, listen. What else? Because I had 2 written down. This was one of them. I was in Salty Nut for this game. I was walking in to grab the next bucket as they were making that kick. And I don't know about you, Evan, but off the boot, field goal kickers, they're so weird to me because off the boot, that thing is going far right.
Yeah, it didn't look good.
It didn't look good. But our quarterback is hurt. So obviously that is tough. I think I'd rather have Luke Doty, Cutter Woods, or Aaron Nolan than what Cade has performed this season so far. 2 turnovers in the first half, bad turnovers too. I mean, Antonio Williams is good, but he's not fixing what's going on with Cade Klubnik. And there's not a lot of Clemson fans that I've talked to that are like, no, he's fine. The only person that I've seemed to hear say that Cade Klubnik is still good is Brandon Walker. I don't see it. I never saw it. But man, if I've got to go down, I want my enemies to be down there with me.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the Palmetto Bowl. Listen, if that's what I have to play for this year, fine. I can be okay with that. Listen, I can have the worst possible season. Listen, my expectations are a little bit higher this year. But if I beat Clemson, it's not all is lost. That, at the end of the day. And I will say one funny
Yeah.
antidote from this game. I saw the clip on Twitter this morning, actually. It's a picture of the field goal posts, them trying to get them out of the stadium, and it's just making a joke. Hey, Georgia Tech, this huge engineering school, and they can't figure out how to get the fucking field goal posts out of the stadium.
That's incredible.
It's like, listen, that's when it comes to be a party school like South Carolina. We wouldn't have any problems with that. Georgia Tech, listen, I'm glad you just got to celebrate. I'm glad you eventually got him out of the stadium. But that was a little bit funny. But that was a great way to start my Saturday. I will say the guy sitting next to me at the bar, of course, I'm loud. I'm obnoxious. Probably cheering just as loud as I was during the South Carolina game until I was depressed. I had 3 shots put in front of me. And listen, I was trying to keep it mellow before the South Carolina game. I got to tell you, I was borderline almost blackout before the South Carolina game because I got just handed shots because I was making a lot of noise at this bar. Worth it, 100%. And I will say, I literally sobered up immediately for the South Carolina game. It was that big of a game. Just the adrenaline took me through, that crash pretty quick. But man, what a game it really was. And listen, although Georgia Tech won, Clemson made it a really good game the whole time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not to take anything, listen, I don't think Clemson's very good based off the way it played, but it was a really good football game. Regardless, it was back and forth moments, exciting moments throughout the game. So, but let me hand it over to you, and let's see what your game of the week was.
Yeah, so we've talked about it. It was actually you touched on both of mine. I won't hammer this into the ground any more than we already kind of have. But if you take away all fandom, the best game of the week was Georgia-Tennessee. What a fun game. What an awesome game. Overtime. I was a Georgia better. I was a Georgia -2.5 better as well. Thank you, FanDuel, for that profit boost so I could buy that line down and still get good odds. Listen, I know a lot of people on Twitter and other things will be like, oh, it's just a kid. God, I feel bad for that kicker. When a kicker misses a big kick and they do the skinny arms on the head, like, oh no, there's nothing that makes me laugh harder. There really isn't.
No, absolutely.
It is. What do you got, JMO? Got the JMO going?
Listen, it's not a celebratory week. There was no scotch this week, and there's no Woodford for me. We're going back to my Irish roots, drinking like depression drinks. So that's where we're at today. But
I will say, because you touched on this is not one of our categories. You touched on your dog of the week hitting. My dog of the week also hit money line. Cal and their quarterback, whose name I'm going to try to pronounce right now, Jaron Koi Segabala. Nailed that. Cal is awesome. Their quarterback is awesome. So two of our 3 dogs of the week hit. I can't remember what Charlie's was. We'll talk a little bit more about some of the bets in the gambling corner. But Ev, I think we're now to our biggest takeaway of the week. Where are you at?
Yeah. My biggest takeaway of the week is, and it's about a team who didn't play this past weekend. But dude, is Florida State really that good this year? And that's my takeaway. I think I watched most of that Alabama-Wisconsin game. I thought Alabama was really impressive to come back like that. And I was kind of digesting it, and based off the way they played, I just think Florida State might really be back this year. And to further that take, I think the ACC is one of those conferences this year that's going to be really exciting. I think it's going to come down to the wire, and I'm really excited to see that finish this year. So that's kind of my take of the week. It's like I think Florida State might be back, and that's my take. I have other takes, but I need to have something positive. I was with an FSU fan this weekend as well, so I might be rooting for them a little bit this year if I have to.
Yeah, I hear you. Our preseason show, we mentioned about how bad the ACC was going to be, and we might just be wrong. ACC has been a lot of fun. My biggest takeaway is similar, but I guess not similar at all now that I look at it. My takeaway is there are some big teams in significant trouble. We obviously hate Clemson. We've made no bones about it. They're a big team. They are. They won 2 national championships while we were in school, at least while I was in school. No, they won one in my senior year and 1 2 years after I graduated. They're a big team. They're a big program. They're top 5 in the nation preseason. They're in trouble. Notre Dame, they're in trouble. Alabama could still be in trouble because Wisconsin kind of fucking blows too. Um, a lot of these big household name teams are in trouble, I think, to start the season. I almost went as far to say that there's going to be a 3-loss team in the playoff this year. Looking at the rankings, I'm not quite sure yet. It's still early, but there's a lot of big name teams that are in a lot of trouble going into the game week 4. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all finishes out. But I do like yours, I think, better. The ACC we might have all just been wrong on.
Yeah.
Although the ACC at the top looks more competitive. I mean, you've got teams like Duke losing to Tulane at home or at Tulane. Virginia Tech might be the worst team in college football. Sorry to my Hokie friends. Brent Pry got fired this weekend or yesterday or something. ACC seems a lot more top heavy than I previously thought.
Yes, so for me, it's more so, like I said, I think there's a few teams that are real good at the top of the ACC. I don't, top to bottom, absolutely not. And I will challenge the Virginia Tech argument there. It might be UCLA. Holy God.
Oh, yeah, they are bad. I mean, but Virginia Tech is also 0-3. They lost to a South Carolina team that, who knows, we might not be that good. But then they lost to Old Dominion at home. I mean, things are bad at Blacksburg.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's just, not something to look at. I mean, you just have to think of, I'm thinking more so from the UCLA standpoint of you bringing this huge name transfer.
Yeah.
And maybe he just fucking sucked. I mean,
maybe he was never good. Yeah.
We talked about Tennessee, just really, really good coaching. I'm looking at Joey Aguilar, not to take anything away from the way he's played. And one thing I did want to, I forgot to touch on this earlier. Neyland, what a rocking atmosphere that was on Saturday.
Neyland's awesome, man. Neyland's awesome. I want to go to a game there so bad.
I love the checkered patterns.
Yeah.
I love that. That was cool. Always cool to see that. And here's another take I just kind of realized. The last 2 weeks, that noon slate, 11 o'clock for me in the Central Time, has been insane. The noon slate, there's been 3-4 good games all across, close competitive football games that have just been exciting football games to watch as well.
Yeah, I'm very pumped to, as much fun as it was to be back in Willie B. And listen, the performance was bad, but being back home is always fun. I'm super excited to watch football and not have to, watch it on my phone, bounce around tailgates. I know we do this on Thursday. Actually, no, I won't mention it because there's a game that I'm circling already, but I'll save it for the preview show. Let's move on to NFL. Unless you have any other.
Yeah, no, I just have one last comment, and it's a game I'm going to talk about in depth on Thursday for coming up who their next opponent is. My Utah Utes didn't look quite as good this weekend. However, my bet did still cover. Listen, great teams to win, or good teams win, great teams cover. Excuse me, the whiskey's catching up to me. But that they squeaked by, and I cannot wait for their matchup this weekend. But I'll dive into that later. But let's jump into the NFL here.
I'm going to look real quick before we do that. Is there any other game that we need to mention? I mean, Houston was my pick of the preview slate, and they looked incredible. Kansas State stinks. Good pick, Evan. Let's see. Florida didn't look as bad as I thought they might against LSU. Brian Kelly, his post-game comments were must-watch TV. If you haven't seen Brian Kelly's post-match interview, sorry, that's my soccer brain, post-game interview. If you haven't seen his post-game comments, holy shit, are they funny. It's a must-watch TV. Just quickly looking through here. Is there anything else we need to mention? Duke lost the Darian Mensah game. That was tough. I know it was tough because my dad usually calls me on Sunday night to recant the weekend. He did not, both because his team lost and my team lost. But yeah, I think those are the only other ones we had to mention. But let's move on to the NFL because what a good slate that was.
Better vibes all around from here. I will say,
this
is hands down the best betting NFL Sunday I've had in probably 2 years.
Let's get into it then. Let's get into it.
And I'm just going to put this out there. I had one of the best Sundays you can have as a human being coming back after one of the worst Saturday nights of all time. I'm not going to get into details, but, Sunday was just a phenomenal day for me. Everything was kind of coming up, Evan, when I needed it the most.
Evan is Evan is in love. Is what we're seeing here. What we're seeing here. I hope she's not a sub yet. Maybe she will be. But yeah, let's talk about it. Evan, what was your most impressive performance from the weekend that we just had?
So I had one I wanted to say, but I'm not gonna. And I'm gonna stick with my team who I picked this year to have a breakout year, and they answered the bell last night, and that was my Los Angeles Chargers. Wow, does Justin Herbert look good? I mean, he looks really, really good. The team looks really good too. Just from a defensive standpoint, they had their moments where they bent, throughout the game, but it was a bend don't break defense, and I'm always so impressed with watching Derwin James play football.
He's
He is
awesome.
just
He's
so
awesome.
much fun to watch. That play he had at the end of the game and as a safety going up against the linebacker, for anyone that's played football, that kind of skinny post the back of the end zone when they kind of have that yard and a half step on you. It's one of the hardest routes to cover as a safety. And
without fouling.
Yeah, absolutely. And I thought Geno Smith, who didn't look good at all for most of the game, threw a really, really nice ball for the most part there. And Derwin James just made one of the most incredible plays to seal that victory. But it was a fun game to watch. The Chargers are exciting. That offense is explosive. Quentin Johnston, someone who I was always hoping would have a good career with the same last name as myself, has always kind of been a drops. He's starting to have a come out party this year. He's getting a lot of space. Charlie was texting us in the group chat yesterday. I want to give him credit. It was a matter of time before that speed kind of took over the NFL. But it was a good game. The Chargers looked really good against the Raiders team that I think has a good amount of talent. And I did want to get into something. Charlie said Ashton Genty looks undersized and all that. After watching the game, I mean, listen, it's not like he was at Boise State where he could just run through all the arm tackles and all that. He was out in space consistently making the first guy miss for the most part and then getting wrapped up. Like, I just don't think he has very many holes. If anyone that's high on Ashton Genty, I'm still very high on Ashton Genty. I haven't hated the way he's played. He's making a lot of people miss still. Brock Bowers played a little bit injured, still just a phenomenal player. But that Raiders team has a lot of talent. I think they're a couple of years away from being good if they can keep building at this rate. But their offensive line looked awful last night too.
Yeah, their offensive line is bad. You know who really impressed me for the Raiders? This is not my answer for best performance. It's a guy that I don't rate very highly, but he consistently shows me he is better than I give him credit for. Is Jacoby Myers. I mean, Jacoby Myers played awesome. And another guy that I feel like we not forget, but we just kind of put him to the side because we think he's old, which it hits me home because I'll be 31 next week and he's my age, is Keenan Allen. That first touchdown to Keenan Allen where he toe drags Swags in the back of the end zone. Keenan Allen is just this is dumb guy brain talk here, but he looks at home in a Chargers jersey. He looks like he's better at football wearing Chargers colors.
He has a resurgence. He's looked like he's lost 4 years.
Yeah.
For sure. But Jacoby Myers, listen, and I have to give all the respect in the world to Jacoby Myers too. He's an ex-Patriot, undrafted guy, a guy I hate to see leave the Patriots. A guy that has requested a trade, still not exactly sure what that situation looks like, in Las Vegas. He's still coming out and balling. I've seen both their games at length. He played the Patriots week 1, then last night. He's coming out and putting his ass in the line throughout the game. It doesn't look like he's playing like I want to trade. He's like, hey, I'm still going to play this out and we'll figure out what happens. And I think you have to respect that a lot compared to what some other people would do that would hold out and things like that. But, I think that's enough on that game unless you got anything else before we jump into who is your best performance of the weekend.
So my best performance is also from the game last night, and it's a dual performance. It's Gunnar Stockton Mayfield and Todd Bowles. Todd Bowles, the head coach of the Buccaneers, who people have made fun of for a large amount of things he's done. Listen, it was very clear to me, at least, that he told his players to let Houston score at the end of that. Like towards the end of that game to take the lead because he knew he had a baller in Baker Mayfield to lead that charge. Todd Bowles with a 1,000 IQ move to do that. Incredibly impressed. But then Baker was at 4th and 10 where he breaks the pocket, breaks a sack. The game's almost over. The game could have ended right there. I know they had 3 timeouts, but he breaks the pocket, runs for it, jukes out one guy, and he almost gets away with a lot more if CD Deuce doesn't get him with an ankle tackle that made Baker do a full front flip. Baker is just an absolute gamer, and he showed out. He showed out in every sense of the word. I mean, this is another one where the box score doesn't tell the story of just what he did. I'm so impressed with Baker. There was a play right before the drive before the Texans scored. I think it might have been when Chase McLaughlin missed that field goal, where he breaks the pocket and gets tackled from behind. And he's like injured. He's down on the field injured. And CD Deuce comes up to talk shit to him, and Baker gets up and like forgets he's hurt because he's like, I got to go talk shit to that guy. Wait, I can't be hurt. I got to go talk shit to that guy. He's such a gamer. Todd Bowles makes such dodo bird decisions all the time, and told the team, at least my belief is, told the team to let them score. What a 1,000 IQ move. Baker's a gamer. So impressed with the Buccaneers digging that out. I still don't know if I think the Bucs are the NFC Championship team that I predicted preseason, but they just find ways to win, man, and they're good. They're a good team.
Yeah, so I got a couple things on this. One, I absolutely love the take. I couldn't really agree with you more. Baker Mayfield's that guy, and I think it just goes to show you don't want anyone to ever get drafted into Cleveland.
Yeah, or New York. We'll get to that in a second.
But he is such a winner. Like I want the ball in his hands. I love the way he plays football. But to add on to that, your Bucks take here, a couple things I gotta say. One, Bucky Irving, a guy no one really talked about too much before the draft last year, had a phenomenal rookie season. And he also just played really, really well. Him in space is incredible. His way to get through a hole, kind of make a jump cut. He's just so shifty. Thought he had a phenomenal game last night. So did White. So did Rashid White as well in the backfield. But I wouldn't be too worried about the Bucks. They're very banged up on the offensive line. They got more banged up last night. I think if, depending on the seriousness of those injuries, they could be all right. I think they do need to get that line back healthy and keep it healthy. I mean, Tristan Wirth's one of the best tackles in football, was out. But yeah, what a great football game too that was to kind of wrap up the NFL weekend.
Game.
And I'm going to get into that game. I have more to touch on that later, as the rest of the group. But
I want to touch on one more thing because you mentioned it.
Of course.
Rachaad White. Listen, Rachaad White was a gamer. Rachaad White came into last season as the unquestioned starter. Bucky Irving kind of stole his spot. The mental strength and the commitment to team success that Rachaad White showed, accepting his new role and then being ready to score that touchdown to win the game. You don't see that. It kind of goes with your Jacoby Myers requesting a trade and then sticking around with the team until, if a trade happens, it happens, whatever. But Rachaad White being ready when his name was called, understanding that his role is diminished and still just whatever for the team coach. You can't say enough about a guy like that. As a coach's son, that's the kind of gritty stuff that's usually reserved for a white receiver. But incredible performance. I mean, you're right. That was maybe, I'm looking at the scores right now. That was maybe definitely top 2 games of the weekend in the NFL. There's only one other one that I can think that was more exciting, but it's 2. I don't think it's 1. I think 1's pretty solidified. I could argue it's 3. Okay.
And not just that play too. He had multiple others throughout the game too, whenever his number was called. But talking about some of the best games of the weekend, I think it's a good time for you to break down your game against the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and combine this with another segment that we have coming up, and it's Worst Take. Ian Stubbe, this is for you. A guy that's been on my Twitter responses saying, "Hey, when are you gonna eat some crow?" Daniel Jones,
Indiana Jones.
Looking at the camera for you, Indiana Jones. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You have proven me wrong. I said very clearly I would not apologize. I will apologize. What a gutsy performance! I sent y'all, you and Charlie in the group chat, the lip dub of AI lip dub interviews are the funniest fucking thing.
They're the best.
Daniel Jones basically is saying, "I'm on a fucking revenge tour, bitches, and all you bullshit media members, I'm coming for you. I was drafted to the most dysfunctional organization, sent to go die." Shane Steichen, looking you in the camera as well. I'm sorry. Chris Ballard, I don't know if I'm sorry yet to you, but Daniel Jones has gone above and beyond. Listen, he threw for 313 yards. He made a bunch of great plays. He managed the game effectively. The game script was very clear, and the game plan was very, very good. Jonathan Taylor had an awesome game. I still think the Denver Broncos defense is one of the best defenses in the league. If not, I still think could be the best. But Daniel Jones was picking on Pat Surtain all game. The defensive player of the year last year, Pat Surtain, if you're just tuning into the NFL. Daniel Jones was incredible. Receivers that looked like they were out to die have looked great. A.D. Mitchell, while he didn't have a ton of catches and yards, looks like he's revitalized. Tyler Warren, I love that they're force feeding him the ball. Do I think that the Colts got a bailout call at the end? No, I didn't. You can't touch the center. Read a fucking book about the rules. Did the Colts maybe get away with a similar call? No, also not, because that was the right guard on the kick, or the person next to the center, whatever they're called, on that blocking unit. So suck a dick, Denver Broncos fans. You didn't win the game. If you're mad at anything, you should be mad at Bo Nix for throwing a stupid interception to Cam Bynum. The Colts are – go ahead.
Cam Bynum, I got to jump in here.
Yeah.
Best celebrations in the NFL.
Dude,
just end the conversation there. That's
the mascot hump was incredible. The Colts look really, really good. And with the Titans 0-2, the Texans 0-2, and the Jaguars 1-1 with some weird things going on with BTJ getting called out by Jimmy Horn, of all people, on Twitter. Look, Jimmy Horn was fine. Or not Jimmy Horn, sorry, Jimmy Smith. Jimmy Smith was fine on a Jaguars team that didn't matter. Brian Thomas Jr. is way better than you ever were or considered to be. So relax, Jimmy. But the Colts look great. They play the Titans this week, which I'll never bet against my team, but this could be a weird trap spot, if I'm being honest, just knowing gambling scripts. But Daniel Jones has far exceeded any expectations I've had all season. He's looked incredible, and I'm ready to say that so far that is my worst take of the season. I still have a Mecca Buka ticket for Rookie of the Year, so I'm not dumb. But yeah, Daniel Jones incredible. The Colts look incredible. I did not bet on them preseason to win the AFC South for the first time in 5 years, so maybe I'm just bad luck, which I'm fine with.
Yeah, as long as you can figure out what bad luck you are, and you can get ahead of that, just like Lenore Sellers thing.
Listen, if I have to bet against the Colts for the rest of the season and lose $100 a game, fine. Yeah. I'll lose $1,000 for a Super Bowl. Are you serious?
I'd pay a lot more. I gotta give one thing on that game before we can move on.
I would too.
Yeah. You touched on this when the offensive team, when they announced the captains for the Colts and Daniel Jones didn't get a applause or whatever that situation. I haven't seen that clip. I don't know exactly what went down there. But I'm sure you saw at the end of the game, the offensive linemen went up and just all hugged Daniel Jones, and you could tell they were just like excited, like, hey, he's our guy now. He's our guy. Like, you can tell, just on one celebration, you can tell, hey, we got you. You got us. We're in. They're bought in on him, and when a team trusts their quarterback, they're going to play better football. That's just how football works.
Especially the offensive line. The offensive line. I will say a clip that not a lot of people have seen. I saw because I'm obviously on Colts Twitter a lot. When Schrader hits that game-winning field goal, the second guy to him that lifts him up is Anthony Richardson. So obviously this is a tough situation for Anthony Richardson. I still think that there could be something there for him. If not, he is an unbelievable character guy. For him to have had what happened to him, this offseason, and still be one of the first guys out there celebrating, lifting up his guy to celebrate a win, that goes a long way to speak to the character that he has.
Yeah, absolutely. And really just what a football game. What a game.
Yeah.
And speaking of games that were, not quite on that level, but fucking exciting football game, my New England Patriots. In a game where I've never seen two teams try to lose a football game so many times with penalties.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing? Drake May looked really, really good yesterday.
Drake May looked great.
He spread the ball around, but who looked even better, and I kind of hate that he looked this good, but I got to give credit where credit's due. Ramondre Stevenson was phenomenal. He was just phenomenal. In an offseason where Travion Henderson, I was like, hey, let's give the reins to him. You can't right now. You can't do it.
No.
And I'm okay with that. Let him learn a little bit. Let him get a little bit better. I'm okay with that. Get him some touches throughout the year. And then our other rookie, Will Campbell, looked phenomenal yesterday. Phenomenal at left tackle. Our other rookie left guard also looked really, really good. I think combined they allowed one quarterback pressure. But the Patriots looked really good offensively throughout the game. Penalties killed us. Drake made just a great job spreading the ball around. Again, over passing yards. Bet of the day for Evan. That hit as well, in case anyone was wondering. But they looked good. They gave me some positives. If they can get rid of the penalties, I think they win that game by a lot more. Some lackadaisical errors on defense, almost blowing the game. Davon Achane, what a fucking run. Obviously, they got taken back. The back-to-back kickoff, the return touchdowns is I want to know when the last time that happened is. I should have looked up that stat for the game. But it was an exciting football game to watch, especially, and I can say this, unfortunately, I was down bad. And I just walked into that game like I can't get my hopes up for the Patriots. Like I can't handle any more defeat right now. And it was a good win. It was a good win against a really, really bad team, but we didn't play well. I think there's a lot to build on from this. Unlike after our week 1 performance where I felt like there wasn't really anything to build on, there is a good amount to build on from this game. You and Charlie were, kind of giving me some shit for not being on the Patriots this week. I like their performance. I like their performance, and I think this is going to be a great segue. Once we finish talking about this, we can talk about the rest of the AFC East here quickly. The Patriots have a really easy schedule. Like, do I think they're going to make the playoffs? No. Like, I think that's not going to happen. They're not that talented. But they're going to have a pretty decent year, I think. I think they're going to be in football games. They're at least going to be a team where it's not you expect to go in there and walk all over them. They can at least put up a fight. So that gives me at least a little bit of hope. Probably going to make my year a little bit more stressful, having to actually get excited for games where they can squeak out a few wins this year. But I'm in a much better spot going into week 3 as I was before I was going into week 2. So that's kind of my take there. I'm not sure if you have anything on that game, but
I do actually. The last time there was 2 back-to-back return touchdowns in the NFL was 1992. Here's some names for you. Naming dudes. A punt return touchdown by Desmond Howard of Washington, the then Redskins, followed up by a kickoff return of Deion Sanders by the Falcons, 1992.
That's incredible.
That feat was matched again September 14 of 2025. The last time there was 2 return touchdowns in a game was 2023, Naheem Hines, the game after DeMar Hamlin. The season after DeMar Hamlin.
But,
2023.
Awesome.
Yeah. But the last time that kind of thing happened was 92. Also, I just got a notification that the Dream and the Fever are about to tip off for the first game of the WNBA playoffs.
Caitlin Clark isn't in it. I'm out.
I'm still in. Go Fever. But
I do like the Fever, so I kind of like the vibe on the Fever. And I'm always going to be a Paige Beckers fan. I like Paige Beckers. I like the way she.
Well, you live in Dallas too.
That is true. Got her from the hometown team. But I think we have to at least touch on it.
Do we want to get into our best and worst teams before we touch on it? Because I think I know what you're going to say.
No, because I don't. Unless you're picking the Jets.
No, my worst team has changed from the Saints to the Dolphins. That's really the only change I have.
So I just want to say I just want to reach out if there's any Jets fans listening. I'm truly sorry. I truly am. I do think you should write hate mail to Mo Lewis for injuring Drew Bledsoe because you're never in this position. If that doesn't happen, and then Tom Brady decided, Jets. Also, actually, that's not an appropriate joke for social media, so we're gonna keep rolling right along here. But Boone, tell me who your least favorite team is and why it switched.
My least favorite team is the Miami Dolphins. I'm sorry to say it.
You're not least favorite, worst. Sorry,
worst. No, I know. But my least favorite to do anything significant this year. This has less to do with the Dolphins, who I thought played fine within reason. Spencer Rattler just looks good. He just looks good. This is my garnet tinted glasses on, but Rattler looks good, and the Dolphins had to invent a way to lose. And anytime you're inventing ways to lose, it doesn't look good. The Panthers, I would say, deserve a shout, but they sneaky backdoor covered and they came alive in the fourth quarter. Listen, I think that could be a take that I have to walk back here at some point soon as well. But the Spencer Rattler looked good. They were competitive. I mean, it was against Mac Jones, but Mac Jones, he might be Shanahan's guy. Who knows? But yeah, the Dolphins inventing ways to lose is never what you want to see. The Patriots don't win in Miami. We talked about it at length on Thursday.
Yep.
And they figured out a way to win. At the top, no change. The Packers are the most dominant team in the NFL. I don't care what any other score says. The Packers take good quarterbacks and make them look mediocre. Their defense is outstanding. Jordan Love looks like he's got it. They don't even have a number one receiver.
Yeah, so that's another thing. Like, that's a game where the Patriots invented ways to lose by letting Achane score that touchdown. He stepped out of bounds. Like, listen, it was a great play by him. It was awful defense. It was miserable defense at the end of the day. And here's the thing with the Dolphins. Okay, the Mike McDaniels experiment, that's over. Like, we gotta – how many more games does he have of doing shit like this? The penalties just absolutely murdered them all game. Listen, So the Patriots, like, that's kind of a wash if you'd want to, like, really talk about it. But at the same time, it kills you.
I think PFT said that you can't be the head coach of an NFL team looking like you sell cocaine in Miami.
No. And listen, if that was the case, maybe I could move to Miami and be the head coach. I don't know. I got the sunglasses for it. I got the white jacket. I'd figure it out. But two is done. I mean, I think we should get him some help before he turns into someone else notable as CTE. Also from the state of Florida. But I will say I'm not going to change my take. I'm going to transition this segment into our next segment as well.
Yeah.
I need to walk back. I'm not going to give up on the Bills until they play poorly. I can't put anyone above them. They're my team. I'm going to ride with them to the end of the year. But I am going to walk back my take that the Packers aren't making the playoffs. That's wrong. That's just dead in the water. It might be the worst take I've had in probably 10, 15 years. The Packers are scary. I texted you guys after maybe their second drive. I'm terrified. I don't want to go to Lambeau. It's a horribly hard place to play. You don't want to go there in the playoffs. You're going to have to go there in the playoffs. Jordan Love looks the best he's ever looked. And while I'm at it, I'm going to walk back my take. Jaden Daniels looked fantastic, too, in that Thursday night football game. Against a really good defense, and it's a really good team. Kind of held his own. Made that game competitive, gave them a chance to win it a few points, but the Packers are too damn good. So I'm going to take two takes. I'm going to walk them both right on back. No sophomore slump for that kid. And the Packers are scary. They're scary.
Has any tight end had a better start to a season than Tucker Kraft?
No, and somebody you could pick up on the waiver wire in fantasy football.
So I'm glad you said that. In one of my leagues, I drafted George Kittle. Obviously hurt, picked up Tucker Kraft on the waivers this weekend. He led me to a win, and then little old me gets a notification on my fantasy machine. The guy I just beat offering me a trade, Jaden Daniels for Tucker Kraft straight up. Now I have Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow's out till till December.
You take it.
Oh, duh. And then right after I take it, I see Jaden Daniels knee something. Don't care. You take that trade 1 billion times out of 1 billion.
Yep.
So, yeah, Jaden Daniels, he looked great. Tucker Kraft has been awesome. The lacrosse guy of the year award goes to Tucker Kraft because that's a lacrosse name. Tucker Kraft the fourth. That's a lacrosse name.
Oh, I didn't know it's the fourth. I didn't know it's the fourth.
I just made that. I made that part up. I'm making it more lacrosse.
Okay, because I was gonna say Tucker Kraft, it's there, but not quite. It's a good lacrosse name, but we're not talking like. Anyways, shout out to the Atlas for winning the PLL championship. Pretty sure it was the Atlas.
Who cares?
Xander Dickinson. That's
Xander Dickinson the fifth. Yes, of course.
he did break his leg, so hope speed recovery. Let's talk some more football games. We had such a good games.
Yeah, we did.
I got a take. I'm very proud. I'm on. The Steelers stink.
Wait, before you get here, some flowers for Evan Johnston. I'm sorry to our biggest subscriber. This guy listens to every show. I love you. Thank you for doing this. One Benjamin Risco, my friend Benjamin Risco. After listening to our preview show, he texts me in the group chat and goes, "Yo, Boone, does Evan Johnston know ball?" Because he's a Steelers fan. He goes, "The second I heard him say Seahawks are his dog of the week, I said, this guy doesn't know ball. He's an idiot." So before you jump into your take, Ben, you knew this was coming. Let's hear it. Let's hear it. Give us your breakdown because you had 2 dogs, 2 wins.
Well, first off, dude, my bonehead play of the week. I wanted to do like bonehead play of the week. I couldn't cross out Mike Shula. I almost put NFL up there. Dude, know the rules of football. If you touch the ball and it goes lies in the back of the end zone, I saw that happen. I changed the channel. I go, that's a win. I put that down in the win column. And I'm not even sure the Seahawks won the game. The Steelers just look bad. It's Aaron Rodgers. He's been over the hill. He's been over the hill since Tom Brady threw 3 interceptions and beat him in the NFC Championship game. AFC. And you think your team's going to be good with him as your quarterback? Dude, come on.
Oh, NFC, you're right. NFC, you're right. Sorry, yeah. Oh, man.
It's just – and listen, they beat the Jets.
They let the Jets score 32 points.
And and the Seahawks guys, listen, I knew it was going to take about 20 points for the Seahawks to win. Got there, and then that was it. I don't want to bash a subscriber right now, but
no, he'll love this.
It's just listen, and I hate the Steelers. At the end of the day, it's reset. They haven't. When's the last time they drafted a quarterback besides Kenny Pickett, who the whole world knew wasn't going to be good? They need a top 5 quarterback pick. You have a great quarterback draft. Let's just reset, maybe start losing a few games on purpose and try again next year. But the Seahawks looked good. The Seahawks also looked good. They made the plays when they had to. Very well-coached team, known to go recover the ball in the back of the end zone. I think Mike Tomlin also probably over the hump. Probably got to get rid of that guy as well. But
yeah, it's one of those things that the Steelers special teams coach, Danny something, the guy who chews more gum than Pete Carroll. That's not something that he's a good coach. So that was shocking to see. Kenneth Gainwell. Yeah, go ahead.
Was it Johnson that touched it?
No, he didn't touch it. He missed it. But the ball landed in the landing zone. So it's a live ball.
I think it flipped, like touched the tip of his shoulder almost.
Regardless, if the ball lands in the landing zone, that's a live ball. Kenneth Gainwell said it. He said it all. I mean, he was pissed after that. That was tough. Let's move to what we think the best game of the weekend was. We got to wrap here soonish, but Cowboys and Giants.
Hey boys, all I can say is I fell out of my chair like 6 times during that football game. And I was sitting on the couch. Like,
you made my
Brandon
headphones
Aubrey
go unplugged. That was awesome.
was a soccer player at Notre Dame. And part of my take, excuse me to screw their segment, he's a second-round pick if I'm redrafting an NFL team. He got me 25 points in fantasy yesterday. Or on Sunday.
He's
what a football game.
Unbelievable. He's unbelievable. Russell Wilson looked good until he didn't. I mean, what a dumbass that pass. We were obviously all watching that game. I'm looking now. Both of our survivor picks we had the Packers in one of them. We had the Cowboys in the other. We're 2-0, still alive.
We got to start picking better picks, guys. We're starting to get real sweaty with our survivor picks.
Yeah. I'm looking at it. The grand prize for our survivor pool is $912,000.
We gotta lock in. Actually, you know what? Maybe the sweatiness is what we deserve.
Yeah.
Because then at the end of the year, it's more rewarding when we win.
Yeah. But the Cowboys, I mean, Russ looked great. Malik Neighbors looked great. Russ was moonballing some people, and then he just throws an abhorrent interception. What I swear, Shane Steichen was watching this game when he was like, "Yeah, Schrader can hit from 60." I mean, what a great game that was! Holy shit, that was fun to watch.
Unbelievable. I will tell you guys, I did go to my favorite bar, one of my favorite bars in Dallas, the Happiest Hour.
Happiest Hour.
And let me tell you, that place was kind of rocking last Sunday night.
Oh shit, I forgot. Yeah, Dallas. Yeah, that makes sense.
After that game, just what a football game. I will say, when I told you guys I had one of the best betting weekends of my life, I did have the Cowboys -5.5.
Ooh.
That was one of my 2 losses of the day. My only other loss was on an anytime touchdown score that didn't happen. So,
speaking of anytime touchdown scores, I think it's a good time to get to our final segment of the show, and that's the gambling corner. For those of you that have been with us, again, we appreciate you, Ben. I hope you take this all as good fun. We do appreciate our subscribers and everything that they do, all 7 of you. We really appreciate y'all. But Evan, the Nobody Asked Parlay is 1-0. And those odds were plus 450. So if you followed that, we appreciate it. Jamar Chase, my pick, was a no sweat. Evan's pick was the one that made us feel a little bit alive. The Buccaneers plus 3.5, and then Charlie's the Chargers -3. That looked a little weird at the beginning. It quickly became unweird. But I'll go ahead and remove that from the segment of best bet, because clearly that was our best bet. The Nobody Asked Parlay.
It was, and listen, I was incredibly confident on the Chargers. And when he missed that field goal and then the Raiders drove down and scored that touchdown, I didn't want to have to get on this podcast after having to talk about the Gamecocks and having to be the reason they lost. So Baker Mayfield, thank you. I love your work. And was it my sweatiest bet too? 1,000%. Because I also had Bucks money line, and I had a good amount on Bucks money line. So, wow, what a football game. But yeah, what a way to start the year on the, first one ever. To go 1-0 is a good start. Because listen, the hardest thing to do is get the first win.
Yeah.
And once you get the first win, you can feel a little bit better, feel a little bit more confident. Not going to get bolder. I'm not stupid. I'm not going to get bolder, but I feel a lot better. Good to get one under the belt. What a win for the squad.
Yeah.
Hopefully everyone rode with us. If you faded us, good. I'm glad you lost money.
Keep fading. We appreciate you. I'll jump into my best bet of the week because obviously the parlay was number 1. This is a bet that you and Charlie both gave me shit for on the preview show. I love the South Florida Bulls. The South Florida Bulls, I'm now 4-0 on. Miami was the bet there. I hammered that bet. In fact, that was the only bet that kept me positive after the Saturday because of how much money I put on the Gamecocks. Miami came out. They handled business. I'm still not a Carson Beck believer. I know I had to eat my crow on Daniel Jones. I will not eat my crow on Carson Beck. I don't care if he wins the Heisman. I'll still stand up here and say, unless I decide to put money on that, and then I'll eat the crow. But Miami, easy, no sweat, covered the 17.5 without even, an ounce of worry. Easy best bet. What about you, Ev? What was your best bet?
So I want to give myself a little bit of credit, touched on earlier. Utah Utes coming out and covering that one. To take a best bet with a spread of 23.5, I think it's a little bit ballsy to call that. I'm gonna give myself a little credit there. They covered. They covered and it wasn't really sweaty. It got, I just need to make sure you get the points. But my other best bet game, I had a lot of money on. And I feel like we need to touch on this game, so I want to talk about it a little bit here. Lions Bears, I hammered it and I took an alternate line. It was either 13.5 or 14.5. I can check the notes. But I just thought the Lions are going to kill them. They needed a good win. And after seeing how well the Packers played on Thursday night, I hammered that Sunday morning just based off of they needed a win and the Bears suck. Like, the Bears suck. And that was a game where you're watching it like, oh, my God, is Ben Johnson going to get fired after 2 games?
The Bears are a disaster. They're a disaster class.
I don't know what you do as a Bears fan. I don't know what you do as a Bears organization. The GM needs to go. He can't be there for. But wow, Jameson Williams had a huge game.
Yep,
killed it for my fantasy team. And just, Lions. And I wouldn't say if I took a -6.5, but when I bet up to go like I said, -13.5, -14.5, at way better odds. Just a huge win for me. And that was just almost a fun game to watch because even though it's really high scoring, the Bears are awful. The Lions offense is so fun to watch when they're fucking clicking like that. They're just such an explosive team, so many options. Jameson Williams is someone who I just love watching when he's playing good football. He's just so fast, so exciting.
Yeah.
There was a point where he's averaging like 56 yards a catch during the game, I think.
Yeah. He's unbelievable. He's a joy to watch. That was if not for the shit that you and Charlie both gave me on the Miami, that would have been my pick because I also hammered that. I did not alt line them like you did, but that was my most confident bet. I almost put them into the nobody asked parlay, but I was just feeling the Jamar Chase touchdown instead. The next one I won't spend too much money, or I spent too much money. I won't spend too much time on. My worst bet was Gamecocks. We came out flat. It was terrible. We've talked about that game at length. I won't get into it too much more than that.
Yeah, so that's what I had too. There's no other way to talk about it. The only thing I will say is I did have another worst bet that was almost equally as bad, and that was Kansas State. They're dead to me. Manhattan, Kansas. Let's keep Manhattan in New York. Kansas, Jesus Christ, maybe. And, one of my biggest takeaways, again, from kind of going back to college football here for a second, how wrong they were about some of the teams in the top 25 to start this year is crazy.
Yeah.
Like Clemson, maybe even South Carolina.
Definitely South Carolina.
I don't want to get there yet. I'm still positive.
We're nothing if not
State,
honest. No, we're nothing if not honest. We being ranked 12 is crazy. That was or 13, whatever.
And I think that might have been a detriment to us. So maybe I'm gonna have to call in and talk about that. Let's not do that in the future. Keep us out of the top 25. Let us earn it again.
Yeah. Sweatiest win. We got a couple more minutes here because we're running a little long. Obviously, a lot to get to. Sweatiest win. What'd you have?
Bucks has to be the Bucks.
Yeah.
There's no world where it isn't. Listen, it's sweatier for me because, like I said, you don't want to be the one of the 3 that loses.
Yeah.
You don't want to be that guy. And I had them. Listen, I had them -3 in the parlay. I had a -3 all sorts of ways, and then I also had a money line. So to sweat that out, and Rashad White, thank you. Baker Mayfield, thank you. My family appreciates that. And I do have one more worst bet I forgot to touch on here. It's fantasy football. I won when I went to bed last night. I woke up this morning with a loss because they credited Justin Herbert with the fumble. I won by 1.5, -2 because of that fumble. So that stinks. That stings. Luckily, it's my fantasy league that I'm with my family, so I don't really give a shit. But it still sucked.
Yeah.
How about you?
listen, you touched on your Bucks thing. I tell you, the best spot to be. The worst spot, obviously, is if you're the one to lose the can't lose parlay, or the nobody has parlay. The best spot to be is when you play the 1 o'clock game and your guys already hit, and the other two aren't till Monday. I was sitting pretty. I was not worried.
And also, probably the ballsy is better than 3. I mean, that's
yeah, I hear it. My sweatiest win was Georgia. I touched on it. I bought them to -2.5. They won by 3. They were not really ever winning that game. It felt like they had lost that game a couple different times. UGA, just Kirby Smart spot. I know Charlie did not buy the 1.5 like I told him to on Saturday morning.
I didn't either.
Yeah, so that might be a worse loss candidate for Charlie if he was on the show today. But yeah, UGA sweatiest win, unbelievable. And then I'll go ahead and jump into my worst loss here to close things out.
I do have to make one comment here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just to tell everyone how good of an NFL Sunday I had. I was minus 19 to 20 units, probably right in between that spot, walking into Sunday morning.
You still set the full slate.
And I woke up Monday morning plus 4 units. So just to give everyone a clarification on how well I did on NFL Sunday.
Man. You were about to have
on top of everything else coming day with. So
you were about to have a bad Monday. My worst loss, I was gonna say South Carolina, but that was my worst bet. So I'll take it to a fantasy / one of the bets we made as a podcast. I had Joe Burrow as my not sleeper pick, but I had Joe Burrow as my big time get your elite quarterback that you don't have to spend like 3rd round price on. Joe Burrow's out till December. Not only does that kill me for some fantasy teams, but it also kills our MVP Joe Burrow bet. That is a donation to FanDuel / DraftKings / my actual bookie. I bet that in a lot of different places. Worst loss.
Pouring that out for Joe Burrow. I'm in the same boat.
Yeah. So hope he gets back soon. Hopefully we get to see Jake Browning's wife in the box a couple more times. But yeah, tough for Joe.
Yeah. So I'm going to go a little bit different. I mean, one, that killed me. However, I was really high on Jake Browning when he stepped in previously. So, like, I'm not completely dead on the Bengals yet.
I'm not dead on the Bengals. Not dead on the Bengals.
I think Jake Browning's a good player. And he showed it in that game, too. The offensive line, he's got to get pissed there. But my worst loss, and listen, I didn't really have many that were close. I either got killed in college football or NFL. I didn't have many. The Cowboys, just having them -5.5 just kind of sucked. I was sitting at the point like, oh my God, like when you're that perfect on a Sunday, I was almost like everything's going right for me. I might get an overtime game and they win by 6. Like that was almost like where my head was. Like I thought it was going to happen and I locked myself in. Kind of a weak take, but it was kind of crushing for how hot I was. But I picked right back up with the heat, so that's okay. But hey, listen, as a podcast, what a great weekend of gambling, generally speaking, and also we went perfect on Thursday Night Football too, gambling as well. I just want to throw that out there.
Yeah, the gang hit the books well. We saw the game. So for all the subs out there, fade the fuck out of us on the Thursday show.
Yeah. But hey, we hit the parlay and we hit our survivor pool pick. So I can't ask for a better into the weekend there. But I know we're kind of running a little bit long here, but Boone, unless you got anything else, I mean that's good for me.
No, we'll see y'all Friday morning. Really appreciate everyone listening again. If you are a listener and you have not subscribed, or if you're not a listener and I send this to you, just have it playing on mute in the background. It really helps us out. We are having a lot of fun with this, so we appreciate everyone that's enjoying it as well. I think the Thursday show we've talked offline. We like those a little bit better because there's still hope in the projection. So tune in for us to hammer South Carolina money line on the next show. But thanks to all y'all that listen. We really appreciate it. Charlie will be back, I think, depending on how long he's in Denver for. But Ev, it's been real.
Hey, and listen, just in case everyone is wondering about the jersey, I'm wearing a Tim Riggins because, listen, I've lost all hope in my college football team, so I'm going to high school fantasy football teams who never broke my heart. But hey, that's all for me. I'll see you guys later.
See y'all.